Square Enix's new great role-playing game is huge, with a huge amount of content that can overwhelm the newcomer. If this is your case, or you have some doubts in particular, we have prepared this guide to Bravely Default 2 with the best possible tricks and tips that will help you in the adventure. Bravely Default 2 Guide in your first steps. Although the game is in charge of teaching the player little by little and showing all its secrets. If you are not very skilled in the genre or it is the first time you enter the franchise, you may use some of the following tips in this guide of Bravely Default 2. Basic navigation. Any key location that will allow you to advance in the story will be marked on the minimap with a yellow icon in the shape of a diamond. If you want to progress through the main content, always go to these places. If you ever get lost or don't know very well what to do, press and hold the R button to take a look at the current objectives. Bravely Default 2's first treasure is in your bed, grab it. The Travel Journal. The Travel Journal in Bravely Default 2 is one of your best friends. It is essential that you take a look at the tutorials section so that you learn the basic questions of the game, in addition to being able to check the following elements. Details of any of the missions you have accepted. Everything related to mission markers, events and conversation scenes that you have had previously. All the tutorials that you have unlocked. Battle tips. Battles are a fundamental part of Bravely Default 2, so it will be impossible to complete the game without getting used to them. Here are a few basic tips that will help you cope, especially at the beginning. If any member of your team is affected by confusion or charm, use the attack against him command to remove it. Do it with the character with the least power to avoid causing serious damage. Try to reserve your resources and potions to the maximum for when you really need them. Continuously visit the inns to restore your health and magical points. Always try to buy in stores. Don't be stingy with potions, elixirs, ethers and other goods. When you advance in the story and in the side missions, you will unlock new items in the stores, so take a look at them whenever you can. Learn how to take a good look at weapons and pieces of equipment. The power of attack can be very attractive, but perhaps other features and utilities can become more useful in some circumstances or with some character. Don't sell anything. You don't know when you're going to need something specific. Tips on dungeons and exploration. When you're inside a dungeon, you will sometimes come across a bright blue circle on the ground. These are special portals that will allow you to return to the entrance of the dungeon at any moment. It can be really useful if you want to rest, regain strength or return to the city to improve your equipment. Use them as checkpoints where you can resume progress later. Inside the dungeons, you will also find storage points that will allow you to rest and save the game. If you can't find any portal or storage point and you're having a hard time, you can use a teleport stone to get back to the start. These are bought in stores, so always try to have some in the inventory. Talk to everyone. You don't know who is going to give you useful objects or information. By talking to the NPCs that have the blue dialogue logo, you will be able to access secondary missions and receive the rarest objects in the game. When you get to a new place, try to explore everything. There are treasures everywhere. Magnifiers are especially useful objects in Bravely Default 2, as they will allow you to check the weaknesses of enemies. You can also do it without these objects if you have a freelancer with the browse skill in your group. Both are important. Bravely Default 2 control tips and tricks. If you want to take a look at the list of Bravely Default 2 controls to know what action each button does, open the menu, go to Options and go to Controls. Save often. Press the button to open the save menu and do it whenever you can. You can do it at any time if you are in a city or in the open countryside. There is also autosave and it is activated by default. If you are going to travel in the open field, keep in mind that a lot of types of enemies can appear, even the strongest and most dangerous. If you want to save problems, travel only during the day. If you prefer to gain experience, travel at night to find the most powerful enemies. We hope these tips and tricks of Bravely Default 2 have been useful. Little by little you will find yourself more comfortable in the game, and you already know that practice makes the teacher.